Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so excited you're tuning in today because we're looking at something that's honestly a total game changer. We're breaking down a really fascinating source that dives straight into Machiavelli's 7 dark psychology tricks. But hey, don't let that word dark throw you off. What we're actually unpacking here is a masterclass in how to completely take back control of your life, and the best part, you do it without ever having to throw a punch or even raise your voice. We're talking about becoming completely untouchable just by mastering how you react to things. And to make this super easy to follow, we're going to group these 7 tricks into 4 very clear phases.
But first, I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you giving away your power on autopilot? Really think about it. Every single time you snap back at an insult or desperately try to explain yourself to someone who has already committed to misunderstanding you, or every time you engage with a toxic person, you are literally handing them your power. You're giving away your peace of mind. The source points out that most of us just run on this reactive autopilot, right? We kind of think that defending ourselves makes us look strong, but actually, engaging just drains you dry.
All right, let's dive into the playbook. Our agenda for today covers Phase 1, protecting the asset. Then Phase 2, weapons of silence. Phase 3, the purge. And finally, Phase 4, ascending through inaction. This is exactly how you go from being an easy target to someone completely untouchable.
So jumping right in with Phase 1, protecting the asset. This is all about guarding your attention and building up your emotional armor.
The source makes such a brilliant point here. If you look at true power players, billionaires, top-tier leaders, people who naturally command respect, they are incredibly selective. They don't just hand their focus over to anyone making a bit of noise. They treat their attention like a highly valuable currency. It's just like money. The second you start throwing it around on impulse, you go broke. Think about your own mental bandwidth. Where is it going? If someone disrespects you on the internet and you spend 3 hours pacing around your living room, furiously typing and deleting the absolute perfect comeback, what do you get out of that? Absolutely nothing. Just stress, frustration, and a whole lot of wasted time. Your attention is an investment. If you're sinking it into reacting to drama, you're starving the only area that actually matters, investing in yourself.
I absolutely love this quote from the text. My attention is gold. That needs to be your daily affirmation right there. You have to build a filter for your life. Imagine yourself as a fortress. You should only be opening the gates of your attention to people who have genuinely earned it. If a person or a situation isn't adding value to your life, they don't get the gold. It really is as simple as that.
Look, if you're operating as an emotional hostage, where you get instantly triggered and defensive just because someone calls you lazy or says you're misunderstood, you become incredibly predictable. People know exactly which buttons to smash to ruin your day. But the moment you build that armor of indifference, you become practically impossible to manipulate. You're secure. An insult just bounces right off because, frankly, their opinion doesn't even register as important to you. Nothing controls me. Now, a really crucial distinction here. Putting on this armor doesn't mean you just stop feeling things. You aren't turning into a robot. It just means that your emotions serve you rather than ruling you. You get to choose what you feel and when. You are firmly in the driver's seat, making sure absolutely nothing on the outside dictates how you feel on the inside.
Moving on to Phase 2, weapons of silence and absence. This is where we use strategic withdrawal and ignoring as a form of psychological warfare.
This is where we switch to the offense. Society constantly feeds us this lie that silence equals weakness, right? Like, if you don't get the last word in, you somehow lost the fight. But the source argues the exact opposite. If you take the reactive approach, talking too much literally hands your enemies free ammo. When you defend yourself, you're showing them exactly what bothers you and where your weaknesses are. But the Machiavellian approach uses silence to create this massive, powerful vacuum. Silence stops the game entirely. It shifts the power dynamic in an instant, and it totally deprives the other person of the validation they were trying to squeeze out of you.
Silence is power. Why? Because it communicates total, absolute indifference. When someone attacks you and you give them literally nothing back, the source notes that they will obsess over your lack of response for days, sometimes weeks. They're sitting there wondering, did they even see it? Do they even care? You win the battle simply by refusing to step onto the battlefield.
And that brings us perfectly to the idea of strategic withdrawal. The definition here is being physically present while remaining emotionally untouchable, creating value through scarcity. The source gives this amazing everyday example about texting. Think about someone who texts you back within 5 seconds, every hour of every day. They're always available. Very quickly, that starts to feel a bit suffocating, doesn't it? But someone who texts occasionally, someone whose availability is scarce, that creates mystery. It creates obsession.
They are present, but their predictability is entirely withdrawn. As the quote says, "I choose my presence." By getting selective with when you're available, you actually make people chase you. They start to put a much higher value on your time simply because they know it isn't guaranteed. You're not ghosting anyone, you're just showing up strictly on your own terms.
Psychologically, ignoring someone literally short-circuits their brain. Humans are wired to desperately need closure. The text describes how ignoring a hateful message has this crazy, mind-breaking effect on the sender. By refusing to acknowledge it, you effectively erase that person from your reality. You make them invisible. And honestly, being completely ignored hurts them way, way more than any insult you could ever type back.
Let's look at Phase 3, the purge. This is about erasing the unworthy completely from your life.
To keep this kind of power, the source says we have to get really specific and, honestly, pretty ruthless. There are 3 types of people you need to quietly and permanently cut from your life. First, enemies. Your active saboteurs. The advice? Don't even try to expose them or fight them. Just let your own massive success torture them while they watch from the sidelines. Second, critics. These are the constantly negative voices who never actually build anything themselves. Do not argue with them. They literally need your attention just to exist. And third, and this might be the most dangerous one, energy parasites. We all know them, the fake friends who live in a perpetual soap opera always dragging you into their endless, unresolvable crises. Cut them off. As the saying goes, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
I erase the unworthy. I really want you to internalize that. Putting up boundaries and protecting your energy from those 3 groups isn't selfish. It's not cruel. It is pure survival. If you give them the chance, they will bleed your energy dry. So erase them quietly, make space for the people who actually matter, and just watch how fast your life transforms.
Which brings us to the final step, Phase 4, ascending through inaction. This is the climax of the whole transformation.
This phase shatters that huge societal myth that having power means you have to constantly hustle, fight, and prove your worth to everyone around you. Calculated inaction is the incredible art of winning battles by doing absolutely nothing, saving your energy for what actually moves the needle. The source uses malicious rumors as a great example. Instead of running around panicking and exhausting yourself trying to defend your reputation, you do nothing. You just keep your head down and keep producing results. Eventually, the truth comes out on its own, the liars end up looking completely foolish, and you didn't waste a single drop of your own energy.
So look at the contrast here. The old you would probably panic, defend yourself, and get down in the mud to engage with competitors who copy your style. But the new you calmly and completely ignores them. You innovate and you stay laser-focused on your own journey. By ignoring the people trying to drag you down, you create this massive distance they can never close. And why? Because you're not even racing them in the first place. You're playing a completely different game.
I am untouchable. This is the ultimate realization of the whole framework. When you master these tricks, your absence becomes magnetic. Your silence becomes legendary. You actually start attracting respect and success instead of endlessly running after it. You're saving all your energy for the real work, while everyone else burns theirs up on fake, dramatic battles.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to stop giving away your power and become untouchable right now? Because the biggest takeaway from all of this is that it only works if you commit to shifting your behavior today. Next time someone dangles the bait, resist the urge to bite. Guard your attention like the absolute gold it is. Lean into the power of silence and ascend through calculated inaction. It is time to take your power back. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time. Keep learning.